whereby we gather information. Today's kind of an information day about where are we in ASD, taking a look at our mission and our goals. And we've come up with a fun way to do that. We're actually, it's all about fishing because probably today some people might want to be on the river, but we're not. We're here, and so hence all of our clothing is very casual, and tomorrow we could certainly do the same thing. But we usually don't dress like this for those that are here. So we're going fishing today, and
clarification, PHISH?
Yes. Well, that would be my.
That would be him.
I like the
So Joe back there might be fishing. He's in the attire for PH fishing. The rest of us are casual, but I didn't actually have any fishing clothes at my house. But when I go down there with family to the Nilchik, they go out on the boat, and I real quick kind of clean up, and then I head to Homer and go shopping at the shops, and then I come back when they're back. So that's my fishing, and this is, wear something comfortable. So welcome. We're going to present, and the day is going to be scheduled with some fun, some just engagement. But I wanted to share that before we even start, we're really going to use the Excel model that we've adopted for our leadership. And it's a model that ties us together so that when we go to meetings, present, when we gather together, we always have similar starting and ending so that it keeps us common as a district being so large. We'll get started in a minute with the first thing called Good Things, but I want to thank everyone in the, I don't know, the back of the boat? In the stern. And this is going to be like a fishbowl for the board because you're actually having your board meeting in public. So it's we call them public meetings, but technically, and I remember the lady from the National School Board saying that last year, that the board does its business in public, but it's your meeting. And so you're technically in a fishbowl here, and we all get to watch. So and swim around. So with that, I'd like to start with us. Andy, or maybe we use first names, is that okay?
Sure.
Yes? Okay. Andy, do you want to tell me a good thing? It could be about school, personal, anything. Just a good thing. We just need to start with good things because our jobs are so tough sometimes. Let's start with good things.
I didn't see that one coming.
I'm sure you have good things.
I'll start.
Okay, Kathleen, a good thing.
My roses are doing wonderful this year, and I've been able to share several, which is the good.
Well, how many rose bushes do you have?
Well, I had 14 and one kind of died, so I have 13.
All right, 13 rose
Paper's
bushes.
dozen.
That's awesome. All right, Star, do you have a good thing?
I woke up this morning.
It is another day.
Because anything can happen. And the sun was shining and it wasn't raining, and I live in Alaska, which is a beautiful state, and I'm just happy.
Look at all those good things. So, Jim, you give me a good thing.
My daughter graduated 3 weeks ago and has a job already.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That means Jim has a lot more money to go fishing. So, part of this, though, we wanted to share good things that the board has presented in the past. So we worked through this, the board president did earlier last year, and in December we gave an update. And Tam had collected over the years ideas that came out at board meetings, and we organized them. And we just wanted, this is the same form that we gave you in December just for reference, but we created a little slideshow of good things for folks to know, and really for us to celebrate at the end of the year, what did we get done? So if you are participating in good things, come on around here and stand up, and we'll just share good things happening in ASD.
That should be everybody.
Yeah. So starting with good things, here we go.
So first of all, it's a great thing to be working with the board in a pair of jeans and a 20-year-old hat, so I'm good with that. This year we created a data dashboard, and we created a data dashboard to focus our work, help achieve better outcomes for kids, and to be transparent to the public. So that's one good thing. And this year we also worked with our partners really intentionally to start coming up with better data sharing agreements and better programs for kids where we're working together to get better outcomes. All right.
So the student-based health centers, the school, the SBHCs, they've been happening in Baggage and Clark now for a number of years through community partnerships, including through Christian Health Associates, Providence, and Volunteers America. And with the help from a grant, the Alaska Mental Health Authority and the approval of you as the board, I think it was April, plans are underway to expand to more schools, the first of which will be Bartlett this fall, with both medical and behavioral health. In addition, we have some new partnerships that have come up for behavioral health for students with Benny Benson and Volunteers America, Lake Otis Elementary, and Anchorage Community Mental Health. And Northwood ABC is working with the agency and interns through UAA to begin next year. So there's some things growing and happening.
This year we did the budget much differently. We tried to make it more metrics-based and also more transparent and easy to understand. We developed the budget handbook, which I know a lot of the board members were able to take around to community meetings, and it will only continue changing and getting stronger and better for the next year.
Oh. For most of you recall, last November you approved a memorandum for a bond proposal that went in front of the voters this April, and I'm happy to report through everyone's hard work, a lot of community meetings, a lot of conversations, and just the involvement of the broader community and their support. We now have a $58.45 million bond for our buildings.
We did complete 3 audits this year, and as you will see in the BPR review brief later on today, none of the results I don't think surprised any of the board members, but we are certainly making leaps and gains in trying to get the systems in place to make next year's audits better.
And our great folks down at the Student Nutrition Center, they continue to strive to make meals that our kids want and are nutritious. I'm happy to report at the end of the academic year that we were in the black in student nutrition, which is a great outcome, and that we are adding 2 schools to our community eligibility program. Scenic Park and the Avail program will be in CEP next year.
A really good thing is we have made an amazing transition from RTI, response to instruction, to a multi-tiered system of support. Which that means is we're not just focusing on the academics, but we're also integrating the social, emotional learning, and behavioral. So we've taken those strategies that have worked really well in some of our title schools and things you've heard over the year, and we're integrating that into our system, instructional coaching, data meetings, data rooms, really high quality interventions, and we have put that in place. And partnered with that, with like 8th grade math support, we're using our MAP data now to not only identify kids who need supports, but also to identify kids who we can move forward and accelerate. And we have more kids moving into those pre-algebra and algebra classes because of it. So that's a really good thing. And that's what MTSS is. It's the whole continuum, not just at-risk kids, but it's all of our kids. So that's really good.
All right. We were really excited to have outlined a solid process this year and then identified our teacher experts who could participate on our ELA review and adoption team, and then made the recommendation to you for the ELA curriculum that we selected. And classes are going on now at ASDSA. Teachers have digital accounts that they can be looking at the material over the summer, and we are excited to have those curriculum items in folks' hands ready to go in the fall.
All right, so at the high school level, we've really tried to work on consumer literacy. South High School piloted a course called The Dynamics of Finance, which is all about real life finances, mortgages, interest rates, all of those things that they need to know moving into adulthood. And this is a picture of our real life financial literacy fair that we put on with a bunch of business partners, where students get kind of who they are as an adult for the day, and they go around to the different businesses and they get a job and they get a mortgage and they figure out their finances as this fictional adult in the world. So that's one way that we're looking at building that literacy in finance.
Alaska Middle College
school is now an ASB school. That's a good thing. We have accepted over 120 students. We're still soliciting more. In addition, we have a district work group now looking at the dual credit concurrent enrollment and standardizing practices and building efficiency. And it's been fun because some of the work has had to backtrack into getting into the way we code courses, into the way we do our transcripts, and so it's been pretty exciting. It's a good thing.
And just through the leadership and guidance from the superintendent and the school board, about 11 months ago, the district made a decision to transition to Alice. And we went into a fairly intensive communication campaign with the public as well as our own employees. And I'm happy to state that Alice is now fully implemented across the district. And by all account, we're getting nothing but positive feedback from our principals, our teachers, and I think the broader community. So thank you for your leadership on that.
Professional learning, this is a picture of our training with our principals and our new instructional coaches. So they had an introductory meeting. So for professional learning, we're at a turning point where we're really trying to provide the services directly at the school level so that teachers can improve their craft and continue to meet student needs. We also have a professional learning advisory team that has representation from Anchorage Education Association, Anchorage Principal Association, Totem, and we're working together on how to continuously improve our professional learning across all those areas.
Well, another great thing or good thing is identifying where alternative programs could be pushed out into our neighborhood schools. So all we need to do is look at Scenic Park in their Chinese immersion, their first year, Tudor Elementary School, their Montessori program, their first year. This year, also Campbell Elementary and their STEM program, and of course, one that I'm very proud of and excited for is our SBBS programs going to Lakewood, Tyson, Cassoon, and Baxter Elementary School to support all of our girls and boys. So a good thing.
So we're also very excited about the CTE program, how that is going. As presented to you not too long ago, the new 5-year CTE strategic plan is being drafted, being finished right now, in fact, by Lou Pandolfino and the CTE staff. He's actually vetting it through, they have a newly formed CTE advisory board. So they're finishing that out, and they'll be presenting that to the superintendent and cabinet here this fall, and then ultimately to you. That strategic plan is going to focus on those 6 pillars of excellence, corresponding objectives and tasks, and basically demonstrate the district's commitment to students, industry, and the community in the future.
All right, this is a good thing. It's going to be a really good thing over the next few months. We've been working on the website, and part of what we're doing is really trying to streamline it, make it a lot more user-friendly and a lot more mobile-friendly. And so, as you'll see and probably have noticed this year, we started to strip away a bunch of information from the website so things are easier to find and more intuitive. And then as we move forward this next year, we'll look to push really mobile, and we'll look to start pushing information out to people instead of having them have to come to the website to get it. So look for that over the next few months.
The good things you're hearing today are resonating well with the public because our public opinion polling out in the community is showing that perceptions of our schools and the district in general are higher than they've been in many years. And also the approval rating of the school board's decisions are also higher than they've been in many years.
And I'm really happy to report that the Anchorage School Board policy will soon be aligned with the Alaska Association of School Boards. We had a wonderful workshop May 11th and 12th, and I want to thank the school board. We had such great participation. Everyone dug in and took a look at where our policies could be aligned with AASB's, and where we currently are is that we're in a review process now with the consultant. We've been receiving bits and pieces of that back, and then there'll be a review process that goes on probably toward the end of summer and then into next year, approving those policies. So that is a great thing.
So our staff evaluation, we have a brand new system this year called Oasis that we have our evaluation system in for teachers, and it's an easier to use system. So I know principals and teachers are very happy with that, and we're continuing to work with AEA and APA on improving and making sure this is really about professional growth and improvement in our schools. So we're working on that. So it's been a success this year.
Another board and administration initiative was to look at the MAP testing. That's the measurement of academic progress test we talked about recently in a board meeting. And the good news there is we started by building out a dashboard. Now we're taking that and building tools for the administration to better use. And now what you're going to see is this connection where it's not just a test. It actually becomes a way of putting kids in the places where they're ready to learn. So some of our students that we've been maybe selecting out of advanced classes begin to be put into more advanced classes, and we begin that process of putting them where they're ready to learn. On the other side of that multi-tiered system of support is the students who need extra help who are behind. So what you see in the pictures there is the dashboard at the top, which shows what administration views look at. You'll see one that would be an example of a classroom teacher who would take those and begin to organize kids where they're ready to learn with the little sticky notes, and you can see how a classroom teacher begins to say, where are my kids ready and what are they ready for? And then the third picture shows a student data notebook. Ultimately, students need to know where they're performing and what their target goals are, so that's the MAP test that you put in place this year.
And another good thing was of course the board's desire for us to advocate for pre-K opportunities in our schools. We are doing that very thing. We've created a great deal of synergy with the existing organizations without the district and within. We are looking at bringing on a coordinator, director for all of our pre-K programs to advocate for pre-K students. And we are extremely excited also looking at utilizing existing space within our buildings for pre-K age students.
All right, so thank you. And actually, if we could, just state your name and your job, just so that everybody knows. Yeah.
Linda Carlson, Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Support.
Heather Milden, I'm a director with elementary education.
Glenn Nielsen, Senior Director for Elementary Education.
I'm Mike Graham, Chief Academic Officer.
Jim Anderson, Chief Financial Officer.
Todd Hess, Chief Human Resource Officer.
Heidi Embley, Senior Director of Communications and Community Outreach.
Kirsten Johnson-Strumper, I'm the incoming Senior Director for Secondary Schools.
Jenny Knudsen, Senior Director of Professional Learning.
And I'm Tom Roth, I'm the Chief Operating Officer.
I'm Mark Stock, Interim Senior Director of Secondary.
And I'm Mike Fleckenstein, the Chief Information Officer.
All right, thank you. Thanks. Oh, and Kathy? Yeah, Kathy.
Kathy Moffett.
And
Kathy Moffett, and I'm the Director of Administrative and Innovative Projects.
Yep.
School Secretary.
All right, so thank you. And our school board person did remind me that we actually didn't do a roll call. So if you could state your name, we have it on tape. That's how we're.
Tamagotchi Easler, School Board. Star Marset, School Board.
Dave Donnelly, School Board. Andy Holloman, School Board.
Kathleen Plunkett, School Board.
Elisa Snelling, School Board.
Thank you. All right, so we have our members. So with that, we start with good things. And then what we do next is talk about needs in our systems when we're working with folks. And in today's context, we talked about what do you want to fish for? If you went fishing, what are you thinking about? Where do you want to bait your hook? And we want to do that because really these next 2 days are about setting the direction as we move forward. Where do we want to go? We just talked about some of these ended up being initiatives under a board goal, but many of them were just tasks, just ideas that the board had in regard to creating more efficiencies, more opportunities. So we wanted to demonstrate that when the board puts something forward in a meeting, we will write it down, we do pay attention to it, and to the best of our ability in getting it done, we can. There are some items on those lists that are pretty significant, and so we want to keep the board in mind that if that is of interest and those ideas that you have to move forward, jot them down. So with that, in our needs section, we do this in Blueprint because whenever you show up to a meeting, we always show up in a context. You're coming as Star Marset, the board, vice president. You're coming as Elisa Snelling. Todd's coming as an HR person. That's true in our buildings. All of our principals who come to meetings, they come with a context of some needs and support, but yet they're coming to a meeting that already has a set agenda. So we take needs to kind of get that information out. You've already come to the meeting, you've been board members for some time, returned board members, and you already have some ideas. And so we want to use those ideas as we move forward in the reporting and then coming up with new goals and objectives. So with that, I'm going to show you how we're going to get initially some ideas out. And this beginning time is totally individual. It's not a group time. We'll have group processing in a little bit, but we're going to take about 10 minutes. We have lakes of our goals. So our big board goals, our Destination 2020 goals are lakes. We have the graduation lake, the recommendation lake, a safety lake, an attendance lake, and performance lake. I think I got them all. Oh, I missed. Efficiency lake. So those were the lakes of our Destination 2020. But we all know that things happen in a district that fall under that lake. So we call those ponds. So we have, under graduation, we know that an indicator for graduation is students, we collect data on Fs. F in research is if you F, attendance and grades are major indicators of graduation. So under that, we have grading ponds, an innovation pond, or social emotional pond. So the ponds are ideas that really fit under those goals. There might be ponds that you know of that aren't up there. We just kind of came up with some examples. You can put them outside the pond or in the pond. But we're going to take about 10 minutes and just think of, if I as a board member want to work with my fellow board members in making ASD a better place, more improvement. And I always say that we never really in education arrive because we're always presented with a new challenge. New kids, different kids, 21st century learning, new way to learn, new rules. And so how is it that we can move from today into tomorrow, setting kids up for success? So we're going to start to think of what you've already have experienced as sitting on the board or being a community member, sitting on other committees, that you really want to maybe think about and have that discussion. We're going to follow through after this with a report on the goals, what was accomplished, what wasn't. And then we're going to take the information from these ponds, additional discussions, where we are, and this afternoon on the agenda is actually time for from 1 to 3, so 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, to talk about where does the board want to go. So the board presents ideas for initiatives under those goals. We take them back and come up with a plan. We come up with the initiatives. Then in August, September, the board's going to either approve this is what we meant or this isn't what we meant. So we need your discussion to set us up on that boating trip that we're about to have that we next year in the sea. So with that, I'm just going to stop for 10 minutes. And as an example, if I really, in my mind, I know that I'm curious about grading practices. I know we need to start getting administrative regulation in regard to grading practices because we're really all over the place. So an A at one school sometimes is a C at another school, it's sometimes this. So how do we articulate student success and how can we, so I might write that down and then I would go take a walk over to a lake or a pond and stick it there. So that your ideas aren't going to be forgotten. When we discuss later on today, we're going to pull all those back. But to get out some of your ideas now so that we can start processing them, take 10 minutes and you know what do you want in our Destination 2020 goals or even initiatives or smaller task projects, just like the sheet showed, what are some of the things that we really think we should tackle for next year as a school board, administration, as a district? So, yes?
For clarification, are we putting them in the ponds or the lakes?
Well, the lake is under graduation if it's some big idea, but sometimes you want more specific, so you can put them on a lake or a pond. The lakes represent the big goal, but we know that our initiatives have to support that goal. So a pond is like an initiative. A grading initiative supports graduation. So, but if there isn't a place for yours, it's okay because we'll find a place for it. It could be in the beigey part, we'll call that the sandbar. Maybe it's on the sandbar. So you can just stick it up there around one of those. So our work in ASD is around Destination 2020 goals. That's what we're about. So your ideas will should all fall under one of these 6. But we created the other ones to demonstrate that it's not as clean as this is a goal and this is. There's a flow of work. So just 10 minutes, we'll be quiet, it's individual work, and you can put things up. Administration, I think we shared ours already, so, yep. So 10 minutes, all right.